Certainly, we are talking about the third consecutive weekend with some high winds across South Central. We've got a high wind watch for both the lower Matanuska Valley and Valdez, which goes into effect Saturday afternoon through Sunday, where we could see some gusts up to 75 miles per hour. Now, the impacts expected will pretty much be like the last several weeks, where we saw some high winds blowing around loose debris, power outages, as well as some damage to some property. And the strongest winds look to arrive Saturday evening on into Sunday morning. So what's going on in the atmosphere? Why are we continuing to hold on to these persistent winds that have yet to relax for some areas of the state? Well, we've got this cold, dense Arctic air through the interior. That's where we're holding on to that area of high pressure. And to the south is that low that continues to trek through areas of the eastern Gulf of Alaska. Now, if you remember back to grade school, winds blow from high pressure to low pressure. So as that cold, dense Arctic air is funneling through the mountain passes and those gaps, those Matanuska winds that we're seeing, until we see either this high or this low dissipate, those winds will continue to be a concern across South Central. So that cold air funneling through the mountain passes, and that is why we're going to see, again, Valdez, Thompson Pass, as well as out towards the lower Matanuska Valley, holding on to some of those strong winds into the weekend. Now, winds this morning are largely confined to the gaps and passes from Seward out towards Valdez, where we've seen some winds up to 30 miles per hour. Winds did subside through the night into the valley, and as a result, we are waking up this morning to some sub-zero values for areas of the valley. So gap winds remain throughout the day, more so for coastal areas, and then rest of South Central, fairly quiet weather for today with those cold conditions continuing. Then as we welcome in tomorrow, we will begin to see those winds increasing across South Central. Those typical areas like we've been holding on to, the Cook Inlet region, the Knik Arm, as well as western and northern parts of the Anchorage Bowl could see some winds of 20 to about 45 miles per hour through the day tomorrow. And again, much like we'll see with the Valley and Valdez, the strongest winds expected Saturday night into Sunday morning. And this will also lead to some bitter cold wind chills with some of the coldest conditions expected into the Copper River Basin, as well as out towards Valdez, Thompson Pass, and over the Chugach Range, where we could see wind chills approaching anywhere from 20 to about 40 below zero. The rest of South Central will see some sub-zero wind chill values, but nowhere near as cold as what we'll see through parts of the Copper River Basin and into the valley. So bundle up this weekend if you are heading outdoors, as we will deal with our third consecutive weekend of holding on to those windy conditions. It is 2 days until the winter solstice, with only losing about 2-ish more minutes to the daylight through the end of this year. And of course, sunset is already as early as it gets. Starting Monday, we'll begin to gain daylight across the region. So we'll be sitting at 5 hours and 27 minutes of daylight this Sunday. And then by April 20th, you can see we've gained over about 10 hours of daylight. And then we continue to steadily gain all the way up to June, when we'll be sitting at 19 hours and 21 minutes of daylight. But of course, even with that daylight gain we'll see next week, cold conditions remain with us, single-digit highs, sub-zero values. Those winds increase into the weekend. Leading up to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we could see some light snow flurries in the forecast, with a gradual warming trend back into the teens.